can Ferrari close in on McLaren and take the constructors? This is something that's come as a complete surprise this late in the season. We kept saying that McLaren could potentially take the fight to Red Bull, and they did, and now Ferrari's just come in the mix like almost out of nowhere.
Yeah, I think they most definitely can take the fight just because, Ferrari, we always would joke, like, obviously the biggest meme out there is about Ferrari's strategy. And it went from, wow, Max Verstappen and Red Bull, they're going to win every single race this year. Then it turned into, wow, McLaren has a lot of speed. And then all of a sudden, what happened to Checo Perez? Now McLaren's in the constructors. And that's like, wow, here comes Ferrari. And so it's this Formula One season went from the lowest expectations I think fans have had for it to, wow, this is actually really exciting. And I think Ferrari can definitely do it. I initially said a few weeks back in our chat that Leclerc could probably be a threat to Lando Norris. I don't know if that will happen, but I think Ferrari is 100% a threat to McLaren. And it's crazy that Red Bull, Max Verstappen's probably still going to win the championship, but Ferrari might take the constructors from McLaren. I think that's the must-see battle from here on out is McLaren versus Ferrari, because you have drivers who I think they've all won twice this year. At least with Lando, Oscar, I don't know if he has one or two wins. I think he does. And then Carlos Sainz and then Charles Leclerc. So it's exciting. And I think there's 4 races left, I believe, looking at the schedule. So anything can happen in these 4. And then I think there's like 2 sprint races, right? I'm not a big I'm not as informed about this, so I apologize. But it's going to be real exciting. I'd love to hear from anyone in the chat room as well what their thoughts are about this, and then obviously you two as well. What we expect to see, right, is Red Bull's faded and McLaren's starting to fade a little bit, but here comes Ferrari.
It looks like here comes Ferrari, especially the last 2 race weekends. I think Brazil might be the big test for Ferrari and to see where to stand, because right now these 2 tracks I feel have really favored the Ferrari engine unit. Mexico City, especially that thinner air. When you look at Brazil, that track with the high-speed corners you have in that front straightaway, the long backstretch, that technical section, I think this might be something where McLaren's going to say, we need to rebound. It's just sort of surprised me that I feel the last 2 race weekends seems the Ferrari strategy group has been one step higher than McLaren right now. Oscar Piastri, qualifying has been a little bit of a weakness lately, especially in Mexico City. 15th place, he had to work his way towards the front. If he had qualified in the top 10, make it to Q3, easily could have been a better points day for McLaren. He needs to step that up, because at the end of the day, if Ferrari has a good, strong weekend, another double podium or another win and their driver 4th place, McLaren needs then at least one driver on the podium, one in the top 10 to try to keep that buffer. Because at the end of the day, as you said, Matthew, you got 2 sprint races, you got the 4 Grand Prix races. This is far from over, and it's just still shocking that Red Bull is now 3rd in the constructors, and I think it's safe to say Red Bull will not overcome Ferrari this year.
Yeah, totally agree with you there, Joe. I think the constructors championship is basically going to be over for Red Bull, but at least they were very strong at the start of the season. I think that's going to be Max Verstappen saving grace in his drivers' championship. If the Red Bull car, didn't fall off, when it did, if the Red Bull car had fallen off a lot sooner than it did, then I have a feeling, Max Verstappen's driver championship hopes, would be in trouble. But yeah, Matthew, like you were saying, I totally agree that Max Verstappen probably still going to win the drivers' championship, but Red Bull constructor hopes don't really see that happen now. It's a 2-horse race between the prancing horses at Ferrari and McLaren. I think it's going to be really fun down the stretch to see which team is going to end up taking this constructors championship. Definitely going to be a lot of fun to follow. But if you're someone like a Lewis Hamilton who's coming in next year, you have to be very excited to see where this Ferrari is, and maybe he can get back to his winning ways on a more consistent basis in 2025. But for now, we're focused on closing out this 2024 season, and really excited to see how this goes.